What's going on? Welcome back to the DeFi Buddy YouTube channel. My name is Colin, and I am one of the instructors and leaders inside of the UIG. And I actually just filmed a walkthrough video on how to do a classic bull scenario for a lending and borrowing position inside of our new DeFi operator group. And I figured I would just shoot a video for the DeFi Buddy YouTube channel as well, because I think this is super valuable. And so basically all I did is I supplied wrapped ETH into Aave, and I borrowed $71 of USDC. And again, this was just a sample of how we can use this. And so what I really wanted to show here was the setup here on DeFi Buddy. And so what I did is I went to DefiBuddy.io, and then I clicked the portfolio section. I grabbed my public wallet address and I added that in the manage wallets section. And so now this position popped up because it reads my position from Aave. It shows my whole setup here. And now I can look at what are the key KPIs that I'm tracking in this position. And there's really two. There's really two major KPIs. Actually, three. I'll call it three. There's three major KPIs that I am tracking within this position. The first one is the LTV, right? The LTV is the loan to value ratio, and that just shows what is the dollar value of the collateral compared to the dollar value of the borrowed, right? And so as of right now, I've only borrowed 29.64% of the collateral value. And so if ETH were to go down in value, well, this collateral value would go down, which means the LTV would start to climb. And so for me, the first KPI that I'm paying attention to with this lending and borrowing position setup is what is my current LTV? For me, I have a certain thresholds that I have personally that I take a look at, and I just compare what is it in reality compared to what are the personal thresholds that I want it to be at. For me, I'll kind of share them here. 30% or below is very healthy, right? So anything below 30% in an ETH position here, very healthy. Anything that's 45% or lower is good. It's optimal. I like that. Anything above 45%, that's where I start to pay attention, right? So I'm not necessarily taking action if it's above 45%, but it's something I need to pay attention to, right, as the LTV climbs. Anything above 50, 55, and certainly 60%, that's where I am definitely taking action. So anywhere between 50 and 60%, and definitely over 60%, I'm taking action. And what do I mean by taking action? Well, by taking action, I mean that I can either pay down the loan, pay down the debt, or I can add more collateral, because anything above 50 or 60% LTV means that we are getting closer to that liquidation price, and I just don't want to be liquidated. And so by paying down the loan or adding more collateral, I'm automatically driving down that LTV percentage. Okay, so that's the first KPI I look at, LTV. The second KPI that I'm looking at, or not necessarily a KPI, but it's just something to be aware of, is the liquidation price, right? So with this current setup that I have right here, the liquidation price of ETH would be $780. Which means that ETH would have to go from $2,219 as it stands today, and it would have to break all levels of support and go down to $780. That, for me, is a big enough buffer that I feel comfortable and confident going to sleep at night, not worrying about if I'm going to get liquidated. So those are the first two things that I'm looking at. Number one, LTV. Number two is the liquidation price. And number three is the cash flow, right? And so this is something that I shared in this walkthrough video in the new DeFi operator group. And that is, am I net positive when it comes to cash flow in my lending and borrowing position? And the answer for right now is yes, I am net positive in my cash flow. Now, somebody might look at this and say, but Colin, you're paying your borrow percentage, your borrow interest is greater than the lending APY, right? So I'm getting paid 1.57% to supply ETH, but I'm paying 2.7% to borrow USDC. That's a net negative interest rate, right? Like this is 1.2% in the red. So how is my net cash flow positive? Well, it's because I'm generating 1.57% on $240 of collateral, and I'm paying 2.7% on only 71%. And so the net cash flow that I'm earning is actually positive. And so for me, that's something I like to pay attention to. Hey, is the position itself net positive when it comes to cash flow? And that's not taking into consideration what I'm actually doing with that borrowed capital. And so again, to simplify it, those are the three things that I like to look at. Current LTV, some people like health factor better. LTV just makes more sense in my brain. So I look at the LTV, I look at the liquidation price, and I look at, am I net positive when it comes to my cash flow? If those three things look healthy and good, that's it. That's my tracking for the day. I just come in here, check, check, check. Or if there's anything that's like, ooh, that's something I need to pay attention to, then I'll make sure that it goes on my list of things to monitor. And if it gets really bad, then I'll obviously make that adjustment. I'll take some action, like paying down the loan or adding more collateral. Those are two things that I can do to directly impact the health of this position. But for the vast majority of my time, it's check, 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 go on with my day. Hopefully this brought you value. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to drop them down in the comments below. And if you want to see any other features that DeFi Buddy has, send them our way, and we'll be definitely able to make some new videos for you. With that being said, have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.